podcast, Exponential Intelligence. Today, this podcast, we're going to be talking about how to handle the holidays with confidence and step into the new year. And so many people have been asking me about this. You know, the one question that I always keep getting is that how to stay solid while visiting the family. So whether it's the holiday season, or you're getting back together with the family, or you have to go visit family because of somebody's getting ill, somebody's getting married, somebody's getting a divorce, whatever it might be, right? It's like when you go back into your family, right? How do you maintain the solidness that you've acquired through XI, right? Whether doing the 18-day meditations, right? The 18-day hyper meditations where you can literally transform your life in 18 days just by listening, by the way, or some of the other meditations that we do, high-level meditations. They're not just, again, if you're new, they're not just normal meditations. This is where I get you into deeper states of meditation, and then I help you rewire yourself to be your best possible self. So you've changed a lot. And then you go back to your family and you're scared on, it's like, God, now I got to go back to that stuff. But how can you turn it where you not only stay solid, stay solid where you are, but then how can you turn that experience, right, what some consider negative, how can you turn that experience into a method of, say, enhancing or even catapulting you into higher and higher states of possibilities for you? Can that be done? Well, with XI, it can be done. Okay? And then we're also going to cover how to end the year properly. It's been a tough year for a lot of people, but then on the same time, on the same moment, for XIers, it's been a really grand time for a lot of you, right? Where the world is falling apart, you've again put yourself together and become stable. So we're going to go under the concept, or the concept of, well, you've changed quite a bit, you've gotten more solid, and then you go back to the family, and then many of you experience that, where you go back into the family, and then you come back and you're disoriented, distorted, pissed off, whatever it is, right? And you've gone back to your old self. Okay. So why does that happen? So we'll explain why that happens, and then what you can do about it as you get into the holiday season. So why does that happen? Well, you're not say solid enough. You don't own the frequencies that you inherited so far, or you don't own the frequencies that you've learned to become. Simply put, another way of putting it, I guess to make it easier, think that you're, say, a blossom, right? You're a blossom, and you're just sticking your head out of the ground, your new identity, your new sense of self. Again, you're just a blossom. And then you go back to the family, and then they trample all over that blossom. What happens to it, right? It dies. It doesn't have a chance to, again, solidify. But say that blossom turned into a nice, strong, say, oak tree, or maybe something really solid. Well, you go back to the family, and then there's no way they can stomp you out, right? And that's the key, and that's what that's what I'm gonna teach you here today. Is how do you turn from a blossom into a strong, say, confident, say, icon or tree that nobody can, say, trample? And how do you do that in such a short time? Okay. Let's take a deep breath in. We'll kind of turn it into an experiential experience as well. So which means that I'll work on you to help you render those frequencies, or help you rewire those frequencies as I talk about, say, the logistics at a conscious level. So the reason why that happens to you is just like I just said, you aren't, say, completely solid. Okay? But those are fantastic opportunities. So you don't want to stay away from those opportunities, but you don't want to just jump into those opportunities either, because it'll destroy you. You just don't know how to handle it, right? You are, say, at a level 1, level 2 of your new identity, and you're jumping into a situation that, is supposed to be for a level 4 or 5 type, say, of strength or abilities. And again, that's another explanation on why you get trampled as you revisit your old friends, family members, and so on. So the purpose of that, or the reason why you do go back there, many of you, do you notice that something literally happens to you that literally, say, forces you to go back into some of your old patterns, whether it's old friends, you go visit your old high school, the house that you grew up in, or you go back to the country that you lived in, you go back to visit your mother, family, all those things. The reason why is it allows you to confirm the changes that you've made, right? You visually see, you experience all the things that you have evolved from. So you'll go back and you'll go, God, my family sucks. They're this and this and this and that, right? I don't want to be any part of it, right? Well, that used to be you, by the way. Think of it, right? That used to be you. And now, so they haven't changed. And that's my point. They haven't changed. They've stayed the same or maybe gone even lower. You've elevated yourself. So you're looking at them from a different level. And as you look at them from a different level, it's like looking over a maze. When you're in the maze, you can't really see where you're going, right? They can't see where they're going. But now you've elevated yourself to a higher level. And as you elevate yourself, you see all the patterns and dysfunctions and all the distortions and all those things that was you at one time, but isn't. But not only you've separated for yourself, but then you understand those patterns at a deeper level and why they hold on to those patterns. So there's a couple steps. And it depends on, say, where you are on these steps, by the way. So if you're new, we'll take it from that newbie. If you're new, you're stepping into, the family dynamics again, okay? No matter what the reason is. Holiday season, again, illness, graduation, whatever it is, you're stepping into, say, that family paradigm, and you're a newbie, right? You've just embraced your new identity of who you are. Again, you're a sapling, right? You're in liquid form. What you go there is that is a confirming or a confirmation of your deletion. That's what you used to be. You see it clearly. It's like, shit, I don't want to be like, Uncle whoever anymore. I don't want to look like that. I don't want to run that patterns. I don't want to look like my mom that aged and, her back gave out and then she got heart issues and, lung disease and all those things. I don't want to do all that stuff. So it gives you an opportunity to see it in real form, to make it as real as possible for you, that is for sure that you don't want that. Because some people, again, need that test. Your higher self is going, hey, do you want this? Do you want to hold on to these patterns, or do you want your new identity? You might not know what that new identity is quite yet, but again, that at a deeper level, you don't want all that stuff. So that is confirming your deletions. It's so specific, but what you want to do is you don't allow them, and this is the key, you don't allow all that family garbage to pour on you. So when you go in and you entertain family, however you see it, right? Again, holidays, a graduation, a death, all that. By the way, a death or a funeral XI uses as a fantastic opportunity to rid yourself of deeper family patterns. I can talk about that as well if you want. Hopefully on this podcast, but if we don't have time, on another podcast. So remind me by sending a comment to us or on Facebook. So let's take a deep breath in again. So you're a newbie, and now you understand why you have to go back and revisit your old paradigm, your old life. You see it clearly. It's like, yep, I'm choosing this new pattern. So it solidifies who you are, okay? But the one key is that you want to observe you in the environment. This is where we start to use reverse spatial referencing. Okay? Again, this is reverse spatial referencing. Okay? So one aspect on how to protect yourself, because people want, hey Mas, can you put a shield around me? Or I'm going to put a shield around me and this and that. That's okay, but with shields, something or someone else is protecting you while you stay the way you are or get weaker. What you want to do is, again, create a solid identity of who you are where you aren't weak. And this isn't just about family. It's about presences. It's about, presences around that aren't in this reality. It's about stepping into grander realities, higher potential. At the higher levels, by the way, of realities, where there's more abundance, more everything, okay? You really have to identify or know who you really are, or the abundance actually destroys you. Again, a whole different topic, whole different podcast on that. So coming back, so what you want to do, again, reverse spatial referencing, is you acknowledge you, okay? Now, if you're the type of person that, say, absorbs people's patterns, right, through the heart, you want to know, say, where you are weak in your body. So what part of your body is weak? And we'll just do that right now for you. Take a deep breath in. Notice something outside of you. Again, just take a deep breath in, close your eyes, either now or now. Close your eyes. Breathing in. Do you remember what you looked at last? If you don't, open your eyes, close them back up. Again, it's a point outside of you. All you need to do. Focus in on what you looked at last. Focus in on your body. Just getting you into the right reality. Your family or your past. As soon as I said that, where did you feel weak? For some of you it worked. For most of you it worked. Some of you might have to try it several times. Some of you it's like, well, shit, I felt weak all over. Well, you have to, again, acknowledge your body all over. Some of you have done a great job. Probably the newbies, right? It's all over that you get consumed or controlled all over. For some of you newbies, that's the way it works. For some of you who are more seasoned in XI, you might feel like a small spot that's still left over that you want to close up or, again, strengthen. So that allows you to, or that tells you like how that space is open, and that's how, say, the exchange of frequencies happen for you. It's like a port. It's an open port for you that you need to close up or not allow access to everybody, just certain individuals. By the way, I would suggest just closing that port completely because you don't want to allow any access from anyone. Okay? Not at this level that you're at, especially. Maybe at the higher levels of frequencies and stuff, again, that I teach through XI lecture series and so on, you can do that, but not at this level. Okay, breath in again. So notice your family. Notice where you felt weak, or anxious, or angry, or mad, or whatever emotion, or even maybe a safety mechanism, or even like joy, or it's like, God, security. Security is, you want to have security on the outside of you. You want to keep that security internally. Right? So although it's a good thing, it creates weakness in you. So as we go on, so when you're referencing your family, say there's a family member, your mom, your aunt, your uncle, whoever it might be, right? You're going to visit them. You're going to go visit them. So that weak spot, you pay attention to that weak spot as you mingle with that family member, or you're in their house, or you're in their say environment. Right? Always pay attention to the weak spot. Better yet, pay attention to all around you if you can, and then especially that weak spot. As you do, you pay attention to them. So what happens is that you are pushing your frequencies out. So as you push your frequencies out, you're not draining yourself. You're just creating an identity of who you are, right? You're creating solidness. So you're not protecting yourself. This is key, very, very key. You're not creating a barrier around you that is not allowing something to come into you. You are just eliminating that completely. You are overpowering what's, say, again, flooding into you. By not creating a barrier, you're just pushing out the frequencies. And all you have to do, like I said, is, especially if you practiced XI a bit more, but even if you're a newbie, all you have to do is pay attention to your body and feel it. You can even imagine like waves coming out of you, waves of light, waves of love, waves of whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Waves of hatred. It just doesn't matter. But I would stay neutral. It's not about love. I'm just going to spread love out there. because that's bullshit. It doesn't work. You've tried it, okay? It doesn't work. It's not about spreading love or spreading joy, or I'm just going to love them for who they are. You don't, you won't, you can't, because you are not at a level to love them for who they are. Because you don't know who they are. I mean, you don't know who you are. So how can you love somebody for who they are if you're not sure of who you are? Again, does that make sense to you? You can't do that. So those things might work at a higher level, but not at the level that most people are at. Okay? In fact, I would just let go of that paradigm or that belief system. This isn't about forgiveness, by the way, or anything like that. It's about spatial referencing. Literally, it's about spatial referencing. And let me just say that again. It's about spatial referencing. It's not about spreading joy, feeling love, feeling united. It's just about, I'm here in the fourth coordinate, in the fourth dimension, they're there. And that's it. Okay? You are just sending out frequencies, not of love. If you want to, you can. I wouldn't do that. And that's why I said it. But just frequencies. And basically you're telling, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. In fact, that's what I would suggest. Again, imagine frequencies, flowing out of you all over the place, just like an antenna does, right? If you looked at a radio antenna, right, sending out frequencies, and if you could see the frequencies, it's just like sending out waves that you can't see, but it's there, right? That's how you can pick up signals. That's how your GPS on your phone works. It's like it's sending out the stuff and then Google Maps picks it up and it's like, oh, you're here. I get it. That's how your GPS works. And it's very accurate, right? Google Maps is very accurate. And I'll tell you the reason why Google Maps is so accurate. And this is the same principle that we can use to help you catapult to higher levels of your success or higher levels of your understanding. Okay, so it's a little more advanced, I would say, a little medium level XI, but again, it's good for beginners as well. So what you want to do there is, God, I'm kind of stepping ahead here, but okay, so let's finish this off, and then let's use the Google Maps example. Okay, and again, it's in my mind, it's here, so I need to use it. Let's take a deep breath in. So this is where you're sending out signals. I'm here. I'm here. So what that means is that they cannot push you around. Right? Think about it. You don't use force. You don't have to create this identity like, I'm going to get mad or I'm going to speak my truth and all this stuff. Because if you're speaking your truth, no matter how true it is, and you're displaced, that truth will feel like a victim mentality to you. And this is where you've gotten abused, right? Raise your hands. Even if I can't see it, just raise your hand or say, yep, that was me in the past, right? You spoke your truth, you fought for the truth and all that stuff, and then you got the shit beat out of you, right? Or somebody didn't like you, or it's because it's not about the truth. You were displaced. You weren't where you're supposed to be. So so as you send out these frequencies, again, I'm here. That's all you have to think about. They look at you, even not at a conscious level, although it will affect them. It's like, whoa, what the hell happened to them? Because they can't push you around. They cannot push you around, especially family members. This is where you go back to your family, no matter how old you are. Do you ever notice that the day that you left your family compound, right? Say you're 18 years old, you're 20 years old, you moved out. You're 50 years old now. You go back to your father and mother's house, especially in the same house that you grew up with. What do? They treat you as a 20-year-old. Exactly. They push you back into a reality that they're comfortable with, not what you are comfortable with, and you just get pushed around because they're your parents. They can do that to you, right? And whether they do it, say, with ulterior motives or out of love, that doesn't matter. It's all about spatial referencing, guys. Just dump out love. Just dump out, the kumbaya bullshit and all that stuff. It's not about that. If you want that kumbaya feeling, understand spatial referencing. Understand, again, if you want love, understand spatial referencing. Okay, and you can do this. By the way, we do have a love event coming up about mid-February of 2022 coming up. Take a look at that. Some other love series to really understand, again, or really love yourself. And then we also have the personal relationship series coming up. The relationship series coming up on the Total Human Reset, beginning of next year as well on 2022. So all those are opportunities for you to redefine who you are at much, 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 much deeper levels from a space and time practicum, which means that once you define yourself in space and time, you can redefine your abundance, your relationships, all aspects, spherical abundance. Okay? So coming back to that example, as you tell them, hey, I'm here, they get out the signals that you're here, and they look at you and they go, shit, something's really changed in you. What is that? I can't push them around if they try to push you around. And some of the old tactics that used to control you, like abuse or anger or self-guilt or shame and all those things, right? You should do this because you're a good son. You should do this because, a good daughter would do this, right? Or a good whatever would do this, or a good parent. All those things start to disappear because it's not about that. It's literally about where you are. So that's advanced, say, reverse spatial referencing, okay? To catapult yourself to even higher levels, okay? And it might get confusing, so either do one or the other. You want to do this. Getting back to that Google example, the Google Maps example, right? Why I use Google Maps. If you've looked at Google Maps, and I've experienced, the Waze, the Apple, maps, and then some of the other, mapping apps. Why is Google Maps so accurate? Because because they collect so much data from you. Literally, they collect so much data from you. All the apps, they collect your location. They collect everything about you. So they use that to accurately define where you are in this reality. Okay? They use it to help you. They might use it for other reasons, but unfortunately, they use it to destroy you as well or control you. Okay? But in a real world example, in the XI world, in the new, say, Matrix, it would actually use it to enhance you, but unfortunately, it doesn't. But you can use the same principles to enhance you, and that's what we're doing, right? So they might use it for ulterior motives. We're going to use the same, say, experience for you to enhance you and catapult you to higher levels. So this is where, again, you use reverse spatial referencing to go, hey, I'm here. So you're sending out the signal, okay? And then what you do, you use normal spatial referencing to bring that single signal back to you. The more references that you have, and this is where you start to use spatial referencing in say, humans, or say living objects, if you will. You can use it as pets. Obviously, nature and trees is a lot better. But usually I say spatial referencing, say beginning spatial referencing, just use inanimate objects. Inanimate objects are stuck in space or in a reality. They can't move. They don't have, say, a consciousness to move. Okay. For example, pets. They don't have access or control to move realities, but their owners have access to this, disconnect them from the reality. And that's why pets get sick, right? You have heart conditions, your dog has heart conditions, and so on like that, right? It moves, it pulls them. So that's why in the past, again, if you're a newbie, you don't want to use this method. But for the people who are more advanced, you can use this method. So the first one, and I again reiterate it because different people learn different things. They hear different things from me. So the first thing that you do is what? Write it down. Even if I'm not watching, even if I'm not there to check out, grab a pen and paper, write it down. The first thing that you do, again, reverse spatial referencing is what? You're sending out signals saying, I am here, okay? Especially on the weak spots. Okay? Again, send that extra signal out all the way around. Right? It's the best way to protect yourself. The second is you reference other people. As you're sending that out, okay, you're referencing them The more people that you can reference, the more objects that you can reference. So really get good at spatial referencing, okay? And use all 5 senses, all your senses, basically 4, but you can use the 5th one as taste, especially if you're into, say, physical abundance or youthfulness and health, and aging younger and all that. You want to use the fifth one, taste. So spatial referencing visually. Okay, this is where, say, basic spatial referencing, just to, say, create a space of safety around you, right? You want to create objects. So when you're in the family paradigm, for example, right? You're in the family home. What you want to do is, again, if you're a newbie, you spatial reference the couch. You spatial reference the wall. You spatial reference, again, inanimate objects. If you're intermediate to advanced level individual, right, you start spatial referencing people. Okay, so in all scenarios, you're still sending out, hey, I'm here. So the advanced ones. Okay, this, by the way, if you're a newbie, again, I highly stress you just spatial reference objects around you. Okay, and I'll just do that for you really quick. You can learn more about spatial referencing. We have a podcast, XI podcast, so look for that. The link will be below for you for that podcast, but we learn the deeper knowledge on how to use spatial referencing, again, not only to solidify, but to stay sane as you go through the holidays. And then in the future, for your future, you use it to create mass abundance, okay? So it's called spatial goal setting, by the way. So when you're a newbie, you're in the environment of other people around you, you go, oh, picture's over there, as Aunt Bessie's talking to you about, I don't know, her goulash or whatever the hell she's talking about, right? So always reference your points. So again, visual, right? Look around you. You want to use like 2-3 points. You smells. Hey, like something's coming from the kitchen, right? I smell turkey from the kitchen, and you pay attention to your body. So always pay attention. Again, the picture is over there. My left arm is over here. Okay? The smell from the kitchen is coming from behind me. The back of my head is over here. Okay? Sounds, right? Somebody's talking over there while I'm over here, right? And then the touch. It's like I'm sitting on, say, a soft couch. So again, always the object and then you, okay? And then again, taste. Notice the taste in your mouth, especially if you haven't, say, eaten something. Notice the taste in your mouth. It'll help you reference, again, the foods that you need to have, the supplements that you need to have, and then those things that you don't want. Your body will tell you what you need, the amounts that you need as well. Okay, so for the advanced individuals, intermediate to advanced individuals, to catapult yourself, okay, you start to reference the reality that your, say, grandma is in. Your grandma's talking to you. You're sending out signals like, I'm here. You start to, say, analyze your grandma or whoever with soft eyes. So what does soft eyes mean? Well, simply, soft eyes is that you're not staring intently at her nose or any other object. You're just kind of looking at her, again, not, say, focused concentration, but you pay attention to, say, your periphery all around you, and as you're observing her. Okay, and again, soft eyes. You're not having, say, single pointed focus. And as you do that, as they're talking to you, and as you're, again, being conscious of what you're sending out, like, I'm here, well, then what you do is really cool. You start to see the reality that your grandma is in. You start to see why she sees or believes in what she talks about. You start to see and relate her experiences from her. So not only does it bring you or helps you understand them and why they are where they are, but it allows you to reference where they are in reference to where you are. Okay? So again, intermediate to advanced, you are at this level where you're more, say, active or proactive in your reality. If you're a newbie, you're just learning about your reality. You still haven't, say, solidified where you are, or you're not automatic as yet. Okay? Over time, you become more and more automatic, and you don't have to spatial reference as much. Okay? So this is where, again, you can turn negative, say, holiday experiences, because, we all go, and, it's like, everybody you talk to is like, oh God, now I got to go meet the family. Now I got to go do this. And it's like horrendous. This is really sad, but the cases of suicide skyrocket during the holiday season. So this is one of the reasons why people hate to go back to their old selves. Okay, without XI, they're escaping from their old selves. Now they have to be reminded of their old selves. So, with XI, you've really deleted your old self and started fresh. But then with XI, instead of going back to your old self, what you do is like, shit, I don't want that for sure. And it solidifies, it pushes you. So if you have patterns of hatred, and that's the next step for you, if you have patterns of hatred, like say hatred, jealousy, anger, and all those things, or guilt and shame and all those things were there to control you, right? Those emotions might show up for you if you need it. But those emotions are not against those individuals. It's not about retribution. It's not about getting back at them. What it is about is that you're using the tool that really worked to control you. Your higher self is using that. So again, hatred, guilt, shame, fear, whatever has been used to control you in the past, those emotions will well up for you as you entertain the environment that you used to be in. And as you do, it's like, shit, it's like, I hate my old life. I'm going to stick to this new one. It's not like, I hate my father for what he did to me. Okay? You can do that if you want. It's not really beneficial for you. It's not about your father. It's about the patterns that he ran. Okay? And then the complementary patterns that you ran, by the way. Okay? So this is, again, examples of, you'll feel those emotions come up for you and you go, shit, I feel guilty. And you'll feel guilty not to get sucked back into that old paradigm, right? And get enslaved again. But it's like, God, you know what? If I waste any more time being my old self, I'm going to really, really feel guilty. And it kicks you in the ass to be yourself even more. So this is how you can handle the terrifying event of the holidays, or coming back into, your old versions of who you are, your old environment, your old friends, your old situations, old places and all that. Some of you revisit some of the old places that you've visited, right? You've had a horrendous time. You go back and you reset the clock on those times. Again, it's really fantastic what you can do when you step back into your old self and do it right. That way, as you step back, it pushes you just like a catapult, right? It pulls you, creates, say, that tension. And that's what you want. As that tension gets created, it just catapults you into your higher version of who you are. And again, away from who you're not anymore. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that helps you enjoy your holidays or any family get-together that you might have loathed. But again, turning it into a learning experience for you. All right? That's what XI is all about. As we end, notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you're noticing. Peace.